Hello, Karthik sir. Thank you for joining us. It's pleasure talking to you. So, sir, basically we are here to listen to your life journey. So, my first question would be that how did you started this? Like, how did you came to this idea of startup? What was your life journey pre startup time?
Um, Before startup, I was working with a company called Sangard Technology Services. It is basically these days known as FIS. I was working there as a software engineer, build and configuration manager for a product. And that was my first job out of engineering from Pune. And I had my job in Pune itself. And so that's pretty much before all of my startup endeavors and business endeavors began. I was in job like anybody else.
So then, how did you came to the idea of starting your startup in this very particular sector, like the cold storage sector, which is not very famous in India that time? So how did that idea came to you?
Actually, this was an idea which came about because of family, friends, and I ended up meeting a mentor of ours, seeing his cold store, seeing the industry he was in. And in 2013, as fate may be, my cousin and we both were looking for some activity to be done at our in Faridabad. And for that activity, we were thinking about different kinds of businesses. So we had come across CNC lathe machines, and we met somebody who suggested cold storages. So essentially, I met a person, Mr. Rajendra Garg, Chandigarh, and he was very kind enough to showcase his cold storage, and he was very positive about the industry. And we got a lot of negative from a lot of people, and he kind of showed us that that negative is not logical. You have to approach it like this. So I had a very good mentor, so to say, which that is how I came across the cold chain space initially. And frankly, me and my cousin at that time, we kind of decided, let's go ahead with this, and it seems to be a good business. And uh, as a it was sort of a family decision at that time to go ahead with the idea.
So, sir, what would be the top five things that you would, consider before beginning a business?
See, IndieCold is a relatively new business idea that kind of has come out of our core own facility in 2017 through a POC, proof of concept. IndieCold started in 2019. We registered the company just last year in November, so it's very new in that sense. The cold chain business or the cold storage business for us started in 2013. Now, when it comes to starting a business or starting any activity which is entrepreneurial in nature, what I believe strongly is that if you have a concept in mind and you have a fair macro level picture on the numbers, say you know
Mhm.
that you can buy something for 10 rupees, you have a cost of 5 rupees, and you can add it and roughly sell it for 15 or 20, 25. I think you should just get down to it and start doing it if you like the product and you like the market. You don't need to really put in that much thought to it. The moment people start overthinking things
Mm.
and not doing it, you kind of not end up doing anything. And over the years, going through a lot of different business ideas, one when we actually ended up putting the cold storage for the first time, uh, that was kind of after having done a 1.5 month research. Macro level pictures were clear, so we were like, what's the worst possible case scenario that can happen? Let's start with it, you know. And that's pretty much was the good decision at that time. We suffered a lot of problems. We uh, there there is a general misconception in the market that there is a lot of shortage of cold storages. So we realized that there is not such shortage of cold storages out there. Farmers and people really do not want to store their produce the way it is advertised in the market and the government talks about it. So there was a lot of difficulty we faced initially, but slowly and slowly, you figure it out and you move forward. And I think you have to just start doing. So anybody who has any idea, they are passionate about it, you have a macro level understanding, this is the numbers, I think you should just start it. Don't overthink it.
So did you get investors on board, and did you face any difficulty while getting them on board?
Investors in see, the most difficult investor I feel is your family, because that's an investor you cannot disappoint.
Right.
You can get any investor out there, and if you are not able to get a good business through, you can say I am sorry, you know but
Mhm.
to your family you cannot say that. You have to live with it, so you
Right.
have to meet them every day. So in that sense, the investors per se were family and friends largely, when we started the whole endeavor. With Indicold, we do not have any investors as of now. It's a asset light model, so we don't need any investors per se. But essentially, for any business, you need some kind of a support. Any entrepreneur would, and we were lucky to have found that support. It was difficult. It wasn't easy, uh, but yes, we did that. We found that support. We haven't got any outside investment. We took loan from the bank. We have been able to repay our loan, uh, more or less. We are done with it. So I think that in itself is the biggest achievement that we have had, is that we have given
Right.
back that money, that capital.
So, like, how did you build your first team? Like, how did you overcome the difficulty of convincing people to get on board with you, though it's a startup?
Actually, that is a difficulty that I have still today. I face that building the team is the biggest, I think, challenge any entrepreneur has, and I think that is the only true effort that we make as an entrepreneur. It is not about the idea; it is about the team. If you have the right team in place, with a little direction, it can really go places. And um it has been a journey, where we as founders have learned over time that there are people who have gotten associated with us. We have been able to provide that impetus and that ambition to them to see that they can learn something from us. So we have had very you can say significant internship programs where we engage a lot of students on a daily basis. So that has kind of helped us to get a lot of talent on board. Currently, also, we are running one of our initiatives where we have around 175 students which are enrolled, out of which around 28 or 30 of them are really active, where they talk on WhatsApp on a daily basis. They do management of those 175 students themselves. So those are the students we kind of monitor, and we later on absorb them in our teams, and that is how we have been able to kind of find the talent for our business. But getting the right talent on board and making the right team is a journey which is still on. And I think it will take time.
So, sir, you must have felt very secured financially in terms of when you were employed in a company, when you were having a job. So, did you have any doubts or confusion? Like, how did you come out of that comfort zone to, start a business?
Actually, when I was working, I other than the salary, I was also doing something outside. I was doing door-to-door marketing in Pune. So
Oh,
we guys used to go out on Sundays, and with products, and I always wanted to get out my comfort zone and see what all different kinds of businesses that one can do. And we were doing multi-level marketing, door-to-door marketing, whatnot. I've done that, and I kind of felt for a long time that if I am able to give 9 to 6 on a job, and if I am able to give that effort on my own idea or thing,
mm-hmm.
that would be great. And
Right.
for that was one of the criteria for shifting from job to a business. And the second criteria was that I really, you have the story where you make money, you go and you live with your why do you make money? So that you make more money, or you make more money, but at the end you want to just go out and live with your family and be close to the people that you love, right? And
Hmm.
when I was in Pune, I got a job in Singapore, and at the end of the day, we were like, "Ki, there is no end to money in being in a job environment, but it will not give me the freedom to be near my family." So
Right.
I quit. I came home. I initially looked for a job uh, near my home. But then slowly and slowly, I started doing a business with a cousin of mine, and from there, things one after the other, and I ended up coming into the cold storage, and then now IndiCold. So there is a lot to it, but that's more or less. So that's how it went.
So we can conclude that from the beginning itself, you had this entrepreneurial mindset that you had to do something
I
of your own.
always wanted to do something of my own. So a lot of people had always told me that if you want to start something of your own, you need to first understand an employee mindset. So that is how people convinced me to get into a job initially. So
Okay.
that is how I ended up joining the job. So yeah.
So, sir, like now you're your own boss. Like there's no one above you to give you directions. You have to all maintain. So, is there any day when you feel that there is a drop in your efficiency because there is no one to supervise you, or just that spirit continues to push you?
Actually, now the burn changes. Earlier, what is the deal is that when you are not performing, your boss will take your case, and he will have KRAs and things assigned to you, which he would want you to fulfill. But now what happens is it's the other way around. You know that you are supporting, say, 20 families or 15 families or 17 families. And now when there are 17 odd families which are dependent on you, your actions, your level of responsibility rises. So you have to make sure that at the end of the day, when you get up in the day, you end up making enough so that each and every day you are cash positive on terms of your outgo to these families who you are responsible for. And I think that in itself becomes a bigger responsibility than when you're working alone in a job. So don't there is even if there is nobody as such supervising us, we have enough burn and enough reason for us to really get out there every day. And I always feel there has to be a balance between work. There has to be say in a day, if you are having 6 hours of work time, you should have 3 hours of thinking time. And
Right.
thinking time is really, really important. Thinking time is where you think of each and everything which is happening across the organization and try to figure out where something might be going wrong, or where we can improve, or what efficiency or new thing can we bring about. Or thinking time could include reading time and stuff like that. So your I think gradually over time our thinking time will increase. And so but yeah, so that is there. So there is, even if there is nobody there, we have to work. There is no option.
So, sir, like the cold storage is one of the very hot topic. Like so many people want to drill into this particular field in India right now. So, sir, like
Mhm.
what is the first thing that you would suggest to those companies who want to start in this field? And like did you got any help from the government programs that is running nowadays on these things?
um, Cold storage industry, if anybody wants to start into it, first I would like to tell them that there is no shortage of cold storages in India. That's a myth. um, there is a shortage of service oriented, professional, palletized run cold storages. Yes, there is a shortage of those kinds of cold storage, but there is no shortage per se of cold storages in India from a commodity perspective. If there is a demand, a cold storage can be created between 5 to 8 months, depending on the area, the location, the clearances, and all, which is sufficient time for somebody who is in the trade to go out and get a cold storage. Okay. There are plenty of subsidy schemes available in the government currently, but you cannot really rely on those schemes on a per se immediate basis. When you are setting up a business, you should not think about subsidy and setup. You should think about a business from a perspective of, if I am investing this much capital, I should be able to recover this capital even if I do not get a subsidy. if you are thinking from a subsidy point of view, that's a wrong business model to follow. You should have enough working capital other than the subsidy also to make it sustainable. If you get subsidy, that is added bonus. Uh, it's a it's a good opportunity in the sense if you are, say, in a commodity based trading business where or in a service based business like I told you earlier, which is in shortage. Other than that, I don't think so you should just go ahead and put up a store if everybody else is putting up a store. You should be really careful where you put it up. Location matters a lot. And second, you should have a business in mind, a client in mind before you enter into the sector. We actually, our primary business is cold chain aggregation. So when we set up our cold storage, we faced this difficulty that we went to a lot of cold storage clients, and majority of the clients said that we want a network, and that kind of made us go back and talk to other cold storage owners, and we asked them, can we form some kind of an association, some kind of a network where we go and talk to the clients so that they have one person that they talk to, and they can talk to us like Snowman or other big players in the market. So I spoke to a lot of people from Maharashtra, from UP, from Delhi, but majority of the people told me that associations will not help, and that is where we kind of started aggregating on our own under our own brand name. And
I would just like to interrupt here. So there was no association before in cold chain.
No, there is an association, but they were like everybody suggested, whosoever entrepreneur that I met who was running his own cold store, he suggested that association will not be able to market your cold store. They will not do the marketing part. They're an association. It's a political organization. So you should not look for marketing activities through them. Why don't you create your own network under your brand name, and people who want to associate with you will associate with you so that you can, market. That is how our kind of business began. And we got an opportunity when GST came about. When we got a lot of opportunity of aggregating such excess capacities which were not getting utilized or people were not able to market into one brand name called Indicold. And we were able to go to our customers and tell them, boss, earlier you were saying that you wanted space here, here, and here. Now we have space available. Other than these locations also, if you want space, let us know. We will get it on our network and offer it to you as one-stop solution. And that is how we kind of have grown over the years. And now we have got 22 plus locations on a pan-India basis, with locations in Bangalore or in UP and Haryana, different states as well, across the length and breadth of the country. And it is through partnering with all these individual entrepreneurial companies as well as public sector companies also who are inefficiently or probably not able to run their plants that effectively. We also engage with them also. So in that sense, that is how we have entered, or that is our innovative journey as far as the startup mindset goes.
So, sir, I saw that you've graduated from IIFT. So,
yes.
Generally, an alumni of IIFT ends up in investment banking or trading. So how did you switch over to this thing?
There's no such categorization per se, I would say, and I wouldn't categorize that thing to IIFT. So IIFT is a mix of talents, I would say. You have all kinds of experience and backgrounds, people working out of there.
So, sir, you must have had a timeline, when you began with Indicold. So, is it moving according to the timeline that you set?
This year has been a little unpredictable, as I think has been for everyone out there. So I wouldn't say that any timeline will or any plan will right now make sense. But we have been, in that sense, a little lucky than most of the businesses out there. When we compare ourselves with other businesses, we pinch ourselves and say we have been a little lucky. Food and cold storage space, in that sense, is in a lot of demand. A lot of product is in storage, which otherwise would have gone out, has stayed in, and we have gotten rentals. Um, but I do not know about tomorrow. After this product moves out in November and December, in Jan and Feb, when the repercussions of people losing their jobs starts translating into low demand, which starts translating into low requirement for storage spacing and bulk storage, that is when we will kind of understand truly what is happening. Probably March of next year we will get a good picture of where we are headed for the next 2 years. But for now, it is 3 months at a time we live.
So, like, what is the overall profit or the turnover of your company right now?
Last year we did around 13.2. So uh, this is all network cold storage warehousing business.
And so, how many cold storages units are there throughout the India that you had?
22, 22
22
locations.
units. Okay, great.
Karthik, like when you started your business, how long
Yes, sir.
did it take to acquire your first 4 clients?
It took me a lifetime, sir.
Oh my God.
It it took my first client. I started in 2013. My first client came in 2015. That client who came in 2015, it took me 2 years for getting that client from 600 metric ton to 1200 metric ton. And in 1 year after that, we got that client to 13,000 metric.
Oh,
So
wow.
basically, it's a trust based business. Um, Getting a client generally takes from 1 year to 1.5 years in engagement. That is what our experience has been.
Hmm.
That time has over the years become shorter and shorter. So from 1.5 years, we have come down to 1 year, 1 year to around 8 months to 6 months.
Hmm.
But I think that is what experience is at the end of the day, and our name in the market is. So sometimes, because of the reputation, we get some business.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to work a little hard for it.
So what are the tips? Say, for example, if you have to restart, if you have to start IndieCold again, say in 2020.
Yeah. So now these days, what we do is we try to do that.
Hmm.
So what we are now doing is we call up people we don't want their business majority of the time. We call them up, we talk to them. The change that has happened over the years is that earlier there was a lot of need. We had to feed the bank, we had to give the interest. So I couldn't hide away the need. Anybody that I spoke to, they knew my need.
Hmm.
They knew that Karthik has to give the loan. So we can squeeze him, we
Hmm.
can give him. So all those issues were known, and I couldn't spend on the infra in that sense that I can now. And now, because we have the money on a month basis, we are cash positive. We are able to upgrade our infra. We are able to implement a lot of things and talk to clients with a little bit of more authority. We are able to tell them that we don't have that need,
Hmm.
and that kind of helps in getting business, I feel, when you can speak with that confidence. First. Second, I have seen is that we do not ask for business these days. We ask for friendship and relationship.
Hmm.
Again, it's a trust based business mainly. We think about where these guys can store, and it is beneficial for them to store. So if we talk to a client and he tells me ki yaar, near Pune, if you can get me a location, that would be great.
Hmm.
So if he is even looking for storage near Bombay, we ask him, sir, where do you want to use this material? What are you looking to use this material in? What kind of activities are you looking to do it in? He will tell us that he is working in Pune, his factory is in Pune, he ends up using the material in Pune. So then we will suggest him a location near Pune, so that it's very cost advantageous for him as well as beneficial for him. So because we do not care about the location per se, we care about that it should be a win-win for all. I think for me to say that what I will do now to make it faster and happen in 100 days, would be that now I have the experience to probably say all of those things. Earlier, I didn't have that experience. So, and the technical aptitude also earlier we didn't have. So those things, it has taken us time to, acquire.
Yeah.
And I think now our path has become faster. So when we started Bangalore, we started in September, and we got our first client in Feb end,
Hmm.
March. We started moving in with clients. So it took us 7-8 months, not 100 days, but I think slowly and slowly we will reduce that time.